rabid enthusiasm has been racing through the SwitchForce household. We have been so pumped at the prospect of new Switch hardware coming our way, apparently, this year. But today we read a new report, this time from EuroGamer, who has sources of their own that seem to say the same things that the Wall Street Journal report said, albeit a little less exciting. Now, we're reading into what the Wall Street Journal reported, but we seem to take away that this was going to be a pretty big deal, that the systems were notable departures from what the Switch currently looks like, and that the Pro, while not as great as the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One X, would be a notable upgrade. And it still might be, but EuroGamer is saying that this is more akin to a 3DS to new 3DS relaunch, and that the light, smaller system is more akin to a 2DS, which to me takes a lot of fire out of these fans.
Yeah, the wind is out of the sails. Whatever analogy you want to use for this, it's less exciting, honestly, but still, new hardware, right? So we're going to be excited. We are very big fans of Nintendo over here, as you guys know, but yeah, I guess my expectations are a little bit tempered if EuroGamer is to be correct here. Maybe they're wrong, because
They could be.
yeah, I mean, these are just reports, and EuroGamer has maybe the same sources, maybe different sources, maybe interpretation is what is being mixed up here. But how do you feel about the fact that the mini, handheld only, right, zero dock, people kept saying that, they still think it didn't have video out of some kind, and maybe it will, maybe. But the way they make it seems like it's gonna just like dramatically be way more like kid friendly and bulkier, and probably made of like some sturdy plastic to keep costs down. How low do you think they can go, first of all, price wise, and how do you feel about the fact that this is probably going to be catered for a very young audience, so it's going to have to cost very little?
Yeah, make sure to let us know your take in the comments down below, and hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. It really helps us out a lot, especially since I've been running around the house with all that excitement. I'm pretty tired, and those likes will definitely give me some new energy. But yeah, I guess this is what should be expected, right? You see what Nintendo did with the 2DS, and specifically on the point of handheld only. Hey, they removed the key feature of the 3DS with the 2DS. They took out the 3D. So they have no problem removing the Switch feature from the Switch Lite or whatever, Switch Mini, whatever they call this. I do think, like EuroGamer says, it will be a kid-targeted handheld-only system. They said that there could still be potentially some way with an additional peripheral, but what they're hearing is that it is going to be handheld only. It's going to be, quote, kid-proof. So that means bulkier, that means more plasticky, Gabe, like you said. Price point is interesting. The 2DS, I think, is still a cool system, but that slab, the original design of the 2DS, it's not something I wanted to play on. Now, the 2DS XL that has come out since is a pretty nifty device that I do like, but if this is going to be... I'm fine with something being kid-friendly, but if it's going to be really reduced, I don't know how much I need it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, they said that some key features are going to be like removed, right? Such as the ability to switch. Another one that has been almost confirmed, because it wasn't both the Wall Street Journal and EuroGamer thing. Like, they're saying that Rumble is pretty much gone. They don't know if it's
right.
HD Rumble or just Rumble completely, but yeah, that will also cut down on cost. I think they're trying to get this thing down to 200. I really do.
That seems so aggressive, because it's like, then where do you have to go from there? But I still feel like 229, 239, somewhere around there. But I guess it depends on how reduced, because I mean, the 2DS didn't even close. So if this is something that, hey, if say it is only for a player, they remove the ability to connect controllers, even though I was pretty staunch on feeling like they'll keep that in the last video. If they remove that, if they remove Rumble, if the screen is a reduced quality screen, yeah, maybe they are really trying to get super aggressive and replace the 3DS real fast.
I kind of want that to be the case, by the way, just to be clear. I don't mind that, right? Because there are a lot of very young people. I have, nieces and nephews, one of each. I don't have multiple. I said plural. I have a niece and a nephew. They're like kids. I have little cousins, and they're all incredibly young, and they have those Amazon tablets. I don't know if you've seen them. They have like this like blue like outer like shell on them that is indestructible. It's so indestructible that Amazon guarantees it for life, and then if it breaks, they'll just send you another one. And they're incredibly cheap. They're like $80. For kids, that's all they need. So I don't think that this Switch Lite will be $80. Of course not. But I wouldn't be surprised if it does end up getting to that $200 sweet spot. I wouldn't even be totally shocked if it hit $150 or something like that.
I know that's
crazy, but
I think that devalues the system too much.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think they can get there. But it sure does seem like they are going to go as low as they feel they can go with the smaller, lighter mini system. But where I started to get a little sad, Gabe, was in EuroGamer's discussion of the Pro, the one that they say is for, quote, avid video gamers, saying that they've heard the bump will be comparable to the 3DS to new 3DS. That's not what I was anticipating at all. Yes,
that's a very marginal upgrade, and it's an upgrade that is going to stop a lot of people from getting it, right? Like, no one's going to want to go pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a tiny improvement. I mean, look, the Nintendo fan base is loyal, so yes, some people will, obviously, including us. But yeah, I think you got to do a little bit more. This is the one where I hope that they're wrong and that there is a little bit more power behind it. But I will say though, Zach, I think that just making it 1080p 60, they're not super far from it now. So as long as everything's 1080p 60, a lot of people said they would be happy. So maybe that's why.
Yeah, I mean, the initial report that discussed, hey, these are going to be notably different, they're going to look different, maybe that's not to be. Perhaps it is just a small internal upgrade. And, they mentioned that there's no suggestion about removing docking or anything from this Pro model, so it probably retains all the same functionality, utilizes the same dock, maybe it is even the same size, and just does have a little bit of a beefier chipset and maybe a slightly improved screen, perhaps. I'm starting to think that maybe this is something that, rather than expecting people to upgrade, a la what Sony and Xbox did, wanting to get a big hardware bump, maybe they just want to sort of utilize 2019 tech to replace the Switch and just have it still be like, hey, if you have a Switch, you're totally fine, don't need this. If you don't have a Switch, it's a little bit of a better option, it feels a little fresher, and then for those avid, crazy, hardcore, yes, you can get it. It just makes me bummed, because then, yeah, I'll probably get it because it'll do some stuff better, but my games didn't feel all that much grander on the new 3DS.
Here, I was gonna say though, this reminds me of the PSP iterations. Remember, it was like the PSP like 2000 to 3000. You remember that?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah. So if it's something just like that, it's gonna be a bummer, obviously.
Yeah.
I hope that's not what it ends up being.
I mean, I think the EuroGamer report also goes along with the idea that both are releasing this year, and that makes me believe what they're saying even more, because if they are going to push these things out right next to each other real quick, then I think that leans even more towards it not being a substantial upgrade. So maybe it's going to be as simple as, hey, it has a little more storage, a little better battery life, and as you mentioned, maybe they kick the frame rate up a bit. Perhaps it even has the same screen. Perhaps it even has the same form factor.
I really hope not. I think that's a huge misstep. The form factor's fine. Keep the form factor. You can't keep that screen. No, man. It's a 720p screen.
This is a really important question that I've been debating in my head the last couple days. Do you think that they mess with the origin pairs of Joy-Con? Do you think that this new Pro has a different starting set of controllers?
Wait, color or like the actual
colors? Yeah, instead of gray and neon blue.
Yeah. I think the Pro they'll do like something. Some white ones would be cool. So, something like hardcore, because they do say it's catered towards the hardcore. So I don't know, a cool color of some kind. Maybe get away from the neon that they've been doing and just do something like, I don't know, totally rad. I don't know.
I guess I would say if the goal is to just replace and quickly shift aside the current Switch, maybe they do just keep the neon. Maybe they want to keep the same marketing, the same look. I mean, I don't have the hard figures on how many people carried over from 3DS to new 3DS, but I don't imagine it being a ton. And maybe this is good news for a lot of you out there. Maybe it's a relief to hear and know that, hey, maybe it's not going to be super substantial, and relax. Like, if you're happy with the Switch, you're happy with the Switch. I mean, Gabe, you've been someone has said like, I'm happy with where it's at. So I don't know. I think the biggest bummer of all, though, if this is to be, and if it is a minor upgrade, isn't, oh, our current games won't look any better, or, oh, we won't want to buy it because it's not as big of a deal, or, oh, it won't be as exciting as E3. It's that my secret biggest hope out of this whole iterative discussion was more inclination for third parties to jump aboard.
And this won't do it at all.
If it's just a minor under the hood tweak and the same specs in general, I don't know, but maybe there's a middle ground. You know, maybe when they're told, hey, it's a new 3DS relaunch, maybe that means more along the lines of, you know, form factor with slight tweaks, but under the hood it's going to get a lot better. It's hard to know, but I will say that this did bum me out a bit.
Yeah, same here. You can hear it in Zach's voice. He is very obviously bummed out by this. He's been crying uncontrollably for the last hour or so.
Well, when you hear 2 new Switch consoles coming, that's just such an exciting idea, and that they're both coming this year, or at least both being revealed this year, like, that's crazy cool. And sure, it'll only be 3 years or whatnot, but like, that's enough time. And even though I don't love my PS4 Pro as, you know, the successor to the PlayStation 4, that's how I play all of my games. So if the Switch Pro is to be better, that's where I'd be playing all of my Switch games, and I'd love to have everything be tweaked and tuned a little bit higher. So I don't know. I mean, this is definitely going to be an interesting one. When they finally release this and reveal this, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be an interesting reception. It's either, holy crap, they really did a lot, that's great, but bummer, I have to buy one, or, oh my god, they didn't really do anything, but relief, I'm good with mine, bring on Animal Crossing, Link's Awakening, Pokemon. Yeah,
I mean, you're right. You had people that were saying that they were going to feel burned by this, that they just got a Switch, and, oh man, there's already new ones coming, mine's already outdated. Maybe you don't have as much to worry about, and, you know, it is a bummer for, you know, people that got, like, very, very excited, but, Zach, maybe there is still exciting things to come. Nothing is set in stone quite yet. These are just reports, although we do think that these iterations are coming 100%. Like, I think we fully believe that now. Who knows exactly how it's going to be. Maybe it is a little bit more powerful than EuroGamer is thinking right now, and I don't know, conflicting reports. Who knows? Regardless,
go
ahead.
I will end by saying that they liken this to the 3DS split that went 2DS and 3DS XL. And even though I didn't feel burned or majorly like I have to get either of those, I own all 3. So I think they know that regardless, Nintendo Hardcore will probably buy into at least one of their new branching paths, and hopefully at least one of them is exciting for us, as you mentioned. So let us know your take in the comments down below, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and are pumped for new Switch Eye. Until next time, for myself and Gabe, SwitchForce out.